Out of all the tanks in Marvel Rivals, Thor is by far the best when it comes to pure damage output and kill potential, so I put together this guide to help you learn him so you can climb through the ranks. But before we get started, I do ask that you like and subscribe on this video as it does help me out a lot, and leave a comment if I missed anything or let me know which character you want me to cover next. But with that all being said, let's get on with the guide. Now the main thing you want to learn on Thor is to manage your Thor Force. That's going to be the 3 hammers that are in the middle of your screen. Every time you use an ability, either your dash or your throw, it's going to absorb one of these Thor Forces, and using your Rune ability will absorb all 3. So being able to manage and rotate these cooldowns in an efficient manner is going to really help you with your Thor gameplay. This is because your abilities don't have a typical cooldown system. There is a 2-second cooldown after using one of your abilities, but this mainly relies on the fact that you have Thor Force available, not just a typical, oh, this ability has a 5-second cooldown, this ability has a 7-second cooldown, nothing like that. Using abilities that require Thor Force also gives you extra bonus health, which allows you to really be as tanky as possible, as since these abilities again don't have a typical cooldown, you can keep spamming abilities and keep spamming over health to really continue having a frontline presence. With Thor Force explained, let's get into the rest of his kit. Your right click is most likely going to be the least utilized part of your kit, as throwing your hammer is never really useful. This is only maybe used if you're finishing a character who's really close and you've seen a quick burst option after using a melee, or if you're catching a straggler who's just so close out of your reach, but you're never really going to be using your right click. The main ability that's going to be using your Thor Force is going to be your shift, which is your dash. This dash forward swings your hammer, and depending on how long you charge it will depend on how much damage it does and how much you will fly forward. This ability is going to be just used the entire time you're playing Thor. It's going to be the way you're going to get in, it's going to be the way you get out, it's going to be the way you trap tanks who are in your team and you're trying to hold them there. This ability is really good as it not only moves you a good amount of distance, but it does a good amount of damage, and it CCs whoever it hits in the direction you're going. And since the cooldown is dependent on how much Thor Force you have, you can kind of just keep spamming this ability, especially if you have a Venom or a Thor or another Hulk who's just sitting in your team trying to get damage. You can just hold them there, keep spamming shift while your team decimates them. It's a very good ability. Now the last ability that consumes Thor Force is going to be your Rune Awakening. This ability transforms you into a complete beast. You do way more damage, you move a little bit faster, but the main draw to this ability is the fact that you get a lot more range as you're shooting lightning out of your hands instead of just swinging your hammer. And not only are you getting a lot more range, but you're also doing a lot more damage, as it only takes about 4 hits to delete any 250 HP target, and you also gain a bonus 200 HP upon activation, so you can really just sustain a fight and keep the pressure up because you do a lot of damage. Now your last ability is going to be your E. This is actually on a 12-second cooldown and is not tied to how much Thor Force you have in any way, because it actually restores Thor Force given the amount of people that are in the bubble once you activate it. With that brief rundown on all of his abilities, how do you want to play Thor in the most optimal way? Well, firstly, you do a lot of damage, so you really want to be sitting on the front line and keeping the pressure up on the enemy tanks and really just bullying them with your shift, just moving them around, either moving them into backlines on your team or moving them around corners so the enemies can't support them as much. Just being able to push the enemies around and be their bully is how you're going to get a lot of value on Thor. And because your right click is going to be your only source of range other than your Rune ability, you're not going to be able to kind of play as passive as you want on Thor. You really got to be all in on the aggression and how you want to coordinate with your team, because you have to be in melee range to get the max amount of value. And there is a lot of value you can get out of Thor once you are in that melee range, but you have to just be committal with your actions. But once you are on the front lines and getting really aggressive, the best combo you can do is to use your shift to engage, pop your E immediately to get that Thor Force back, and then go into your Rune Awakening form to have that extra tankiness and also to do a shit ton of damage. The best way to keep a team at bay as Thor is to really keep the pressure up by just swinging on their tank, using your shift on your tank to just bully them around and get a lot of attention and resources drawn onto them. And then immediately once you notice an opening, you pop your E, get all your Thor Force back, immediately go into your Rune form and shoot 4 little lightning volleys at a support character, instantly deleting them and securing the fight for your team. Now when you're solo tanking on Thor, you really just want to be the frontline tank who can just sit there and deal out as much damage as possible before shifting out to your team and then shifting right back in to do it all over again. But your playstyle completely shifts if you have another tank playing with you. When you have another tank who can just sit on the front line for you, as Thor you are able to do a lot more damage from off angles and being able to single out either flankers or finding other supports who are just course not with their team, you can do a lot of disruption on Thor if you have another tank who can frontline for you. And if you do have that secondary tank, you're able to spend a lot more time defending your teammates against dive characters. Again, as your shift does not have a direct cooldown for it, you are able to just keep spamming your shift at whoever is diving your team and continually stun locking them, allowing your team to easily take out the flanker. Now, I have failed to mention Thor's ult up until this point, and that is for a reason. It is not very useful. The damage on it is very inconsistent. There's very much you need to be right next to them or right on top of them. If there's any sort of level distance, like if you do it on a set of stairs and the enemy is one stair below you, it just will not register. There's a lot of wonkiness on this ability, so I don't see a lot of value out of it. It's still a very good ultimate at securing points, and if you just use it on like a convoy map, if you just ult on point, you're gonna do a lot of damage, as the tick damage that you do before you hit the ground is still very noticeable. It's just not a very big focal point of how you want to play Thor and how you want to utilize his kit to the fullest potential. If the dev team just fixed the coding on how Thor's ultimate works and just had it to where if you're in the circle you get damage instead of having to rely on the different levels and elevations, this ultimate would be pretty good. But as it stands for right now, since it is just a buggy mess of an ability, it's just not very, it's a bad ultimate. It's bad. I'd say the best part of his ultimate is the fact that you can secure picks on characters who are very low and out of your reach, as again the take damage is still very noticeable. But other than that, the main way you're going to be getting kills on Thor is stun locking tanks with your shift and using your rune ability to take down any supports or any flankers that are attacking your team. Again, you just want to be this massive bully for the enemy team, just spamming out abilities, spamming out overhealth, just being a constant threat that they have to deal with. And if you're not doing that, you're not going to be getting a lot of value on Thor. But with that all being said, I'm gonna leave y'all with the rest of this gameplay. But before I do ask that y'all like and subscribe on this video, as it does help me out a lot. And again, leave me a comment if I did miss anything, or if you want to let me know what character you want me to cover next. And with that out of the way, enjoy the rest of the video. What do I get out of this team up? Just more health? Damn.
It's penny mines. You should shoot the front. That's a healer.
Oh my god, please. What the fuck does this guy think he is? I'm trying to deal with your Wolverine. I'm trying to deal with your Wolverine, man. Leave me alone. This is not about you.
He fell off. No way, dude.
Honestly, it's the best play. Fall off.
Almost there.
Exactly, guys. It was the best play. As my team is eloquently describing, it was the best play to make.
Vehicle reached the checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
No way he kidnapped me and only me.
I'm ready to put on a show.
Bro. Again, it's not about... My fucking god. I'm trying to deal with your Scarlet Witch. Can y'all fuck off? My god. Yeah, my team's losing. We gotta get out.
That's huge. Well, stampede, boys!
Oh damn, that was actually pretty good. Pretty good score stampede. Damn, my score girl went nicely. Oh my god.
Jeez, yeah. Good work.
Final score 2-1.
We did it. We won.
Another epic victory. Take one.
Alright, totally glad I keep on playing. I want to keep playing. Wow. This one